Good day. My name is Khomozongago from the City of Tshwane's Group Communication Department. We are here at Swabek to report on the State of the Capital Address, which is to be delivered by our Honorable Executive Mayor, Solim Simanga. Did you know this year's theme is Stabilize, Revitalize and Deliver?
His Worship, the Executive Mayor, Honorable Chief Kekana and his entourage, if they are still here, the Chief Whip of Council, Leader of the Executive Business, members of the Mayoral Committee, Chair of Chairs, Chairperson of the 1679 committees, leaders of all political parties represented in Council, Honorable Alderwomen, Aldermen and Councillors, the City Manager, senior officials, distinguished guests, and members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, a hearty and warm welcome to all of you to the City of Tshwane State of the Capital Address 2017 by the Executive Mayor. The State of the Capital Address, Honorable Alderwomen, Aldermen and Councillors, is important for the people of Tshwane as it covers not only the political and socio-economic state of the city, but all service delivery commitments of local government. The Executive Mayor will also highlight the current achievements and challenges and will suggest a way forward in addressing future imperatives in a partnership between the City of Tshwane, the residents of Tshwane, and all stakeholders. This vital exercise gives expression to the theme of the State of the Capital Address, mainly stabilize, revitalize, deliver, and to the concept of accountability and transparency, which are very important cornerstones of a present-day government. Please note that for purposes of concentration and attention, the speech will be distributed to councillors, traditional leaders, guests, and senior officials by making it available on the intranet and on the City of Tshwane website immediately after it was delivered by the Executive Mayor. And I take it that all honorable aldermen, alderwomen, and councillors have signed the attendance register for today because it is important. If not, please do so before you go home or immediately after the Executive Mayor has concluded his speech. And for purposes of the leave of absence, please be informed that all councillors' applications for leave of absence as approved by the Chief Whip of Council will be submitted to the Office of the Speaker directly for capturing in the minutes. Now, the moment that you've all been waiting for the Executive Mayor to address us. Honorable Alderwomen, Aldermen, and Councillors, ladies and gentlemen, I now present to you the Executive Mayor, Councillor Solim Simanga, who will deliver the State of the Capital Address for 2017. Executive Mayor.
Madam Speaker, Your Excellencies, Ambassadors and High Commissioners, Leader of Council Business, Chief Whip of Council, members of the Mayoral Committee, fellow councillors, esteemed Governor of the Reserve Bank in his absence, the City Manager and Senior Managers present here today, Leader of Business Community, leaders of the business community present today, distinguished guests, comrades and friends, members of the mass media, and the most important people, the VIP of our city, good afternoon. It is with an immense honor, but I must also say with great sadness, that I stand here in front of you today after seeing what was once a very formidable movement, a movement that attracted thousands of intellectuals, a movement that attracted those that understood what it means to be free and what it meant for the future generations to work towards freedom. Turning now into a group of hooligans, turning now into a group of those that cannot foment those same things, principles that Solomon Mahlangu died for. Solomon Mahlangu died, and in his last words, as it's inscribed in his grave, it says, "Tell my people that I love them. Tell my people that I love them, and let my blood nourish the blood, or let my blood nourish the tree of freedom." The tree of freedom. The freedom that today some, because of corrupt activities that they have been enjoying for the longest of time, thinking freedom is only for them. But you see, there's something else about today. 23 years ago, on this very day, the ANC government of Ndate Nelson Mandela and the IEC reached an agreement on this very day to say that on the 27th of April, we will have the first national elections. Therefore, this day has another significant meaning. This was a day where we decided which would become the beginning of the freedom of South Africa. That is something that they've forgotten. Something that they have forgotten. They have now concentrated on these gimmicks of fighting for something that we have already said we honor. And you see, there's nothing better than honoring somebody by being respectful. There's nothing more than honoring somebody by saying, I'm going to do the right thing. Turning yourself into a hooligan, you are actually spitting and pissing on somebody's grave that you're saying you're honoring. We will stand and say, we will honor the true spirit of Solomon Mahlangu. That says the people and my people will have dignity where they are staying. My people will have equal opportunities, irrespective of what card they are carrying in their pocket. It doesn't have to be an ANC card. It doesn't have to be an EFF card. It doesn't have to be an ANC DA card or a Freedom Front or an IFP or whatever political party. It has to be a card that says, I'm a South African first and everything else. And freedom is that I'm going to enjoy under equal city. Madam Speaker, it's also with a heavy heart that thousands and millions of South Africans, and actually those that are in our city, will not get to hear what plans we have for them. Millions of our people have been told lies that we don't care about them, that money is going to be spent only in the rich suburbs. But the truth is that millions of our money is going to go towards those communities that for the longest time have cried for jobs, for the longest time have cried for clean water, for the longest time have been crying for electricity. Millions of our people are going to be benefiting from this budget that we want to be passing and from this message that we're bringing forward. My blood will nourish the tree that will bear the fruits of freedom. Tell my people that I love them. They must continue the fight. And we will continue the fight until every South African is living in dignity, until the people of this city are equal. Whether you're coming from Hammanskraal or whether you're coming from Olivenhout-Bosch, whether you're coming from Centurion or Waterkloof, we are all equal and we should be equal here. And we should strive to make sure that we are all equal. When preparing for such an address, it was challenging for me because I needed to ask myself, where do we begin? And I was reminded of the words of President Thabo Mbeki when he said, and I quote, on occasions such as this, we shall perhaps start at the beginning. So let me begin. The 3rd of August 2016 was the culmination of months of odious work and a long journey to win the support of the people of Tshwane to vote for change in the political leadership. This was by no means an easy task. In fact, at times, it seemed like an impossible task. When Ms. Didiza's name was blatantly mentioned or announced as the ANC mayoral candidate in the streets of Atteridgeville, then there was fire. In the streets of Mamelodi, then there was fire. I then immediately asked myself, if Atteridgeville would reject such a senior member of a political party that they have supported for a very long time, who am I and what will happen when the Democratic Alliance take over? And then something dawned on me. The people were not fighting against the name of Togo Didiza. They were fighting against a government that has forgotten about them and has concentrated on enriching themselves. They were fighting against corruption. They were fighting against jobs that were only reserved for a few. And that's what the people were fighting for. They were saying, we are ready to move on. We are ready to get on to the next level. The promise of Solomon Mahlangu, the promise of Utata Nelson Mandela, that indeed South Africa belongs to all who live in it, and we shall rejoice in the fruits of the economy of this country. Our people simply wanted change. They wanted change that meant less corruption, and they wanted to start seeing a city that is making progress again. Change that will deliver better services and offer more employment opportunities for all the people of Tshwane, not just the small pocket of the connected elite. It is on the 3rd of August that we came with all our partners and those that vote with us on principle, that they say, Msimanga, we want to put you there so that we are able to carry the vision that we have for a better capital city. We want to put our ideological differences aside and concentrate on ensuring that a Gogo who's living in Hammanskraal will once and for all have dignity of life. We decided to put our differences aside and concentrated on ensuring that we are able to give millions of our people a meaningful life. With the formulation of our government, it was important to identify the key service delivery challenges that transcended ideologies and united those parties dedicated to improving the lives of the people of our city. This gave birth to our commitment to transforming the city and ensuring that its apparatus worked to provide our people with a life of value, a life underpinned by freedom, fairness, and opportunity. We identified that the city's finances were not being properly managed to deliver the basic services that our people so desperately needed. Specifically, we agreed that access to affordable and sustainable electricity and water supply was paramount and should be top of our priority. These are the basic elements required for our people to live a life of dignity. This was the same approach when the issue of the provision of decent housing came about. All of us agreed that we need to do each and everything in our power to ensure that those that find themselves without shelter right now, we will do whatever it takes and whatever it means to be done so that we are able to give our people something that they can call a home of their own. And we'll unpack that in a moment. Understanding that the provision of basic services is at the apex of a collective mandate, we realize that our goals are the same despite our ideological starting points. This administration is united by a common desire to serve the people of Tshwane and deliver on our mandate for change. We have had our disagreements, and we will continue to have our disagreements as normal. But I would like to thank our partners for their cooperation and support in bringing about the beginnings of change that our people want to see. We look forward to a robust and fruitful working relationship as we rescue the city from the throes of mismanagement and take it to a new height. At the first sitting of this very council, I was elected to lead a daunting task that we are supposed to then turn things around. A daunting task that says, irrespective of a 2 billion rand deficit that we had to inherit and has to start from, what is it that we are going to do so that the people can taste and feel and see that change is indeed coming on their doorstep? I got to understand that when we were campaigning, there were things that we knew, and there were things that we knew that we didn't know. But we know now that there were things that we didn't know that we didn't know. We didn't know that there was a contract called Peu that costed the city billions of rand. We knew that the previous administration decided to go into an illegal contract and therefore costing the city and bleeding this city millions of rands each and every month. Money that could have gone towards ensuring that the people of Kangala will have decent electricity supply, that the people of Zitabise will have roads once and for all, that the people of Centurion will have the asbestos pipes removed and proper pipes being put in there. We are saying enough of those contracts that have been awarded. We needed now to put in place contracts that will ensure that the most of our people will benefit from the money, not the political connected, not those that are now seeking power by fire. We looked at contracts like the Dinukeng Music Festival, where millions of rand went towards the Nicki Minaj. Today, the same person who was crying about the Nicki Minaj concert, Leseho Makubele, is the one that is saying that we cannot continue with the state of the city address. We want to say, what happened to you fighting that good fight? What happened to you saying that money could have gone towards building more RDP houses for our people? Now you have turned, because you have been promised an MMC position. You have now turned, and you are now, by hook or crook, want to see this administration failing. It's not going to happen. This administration is focused on delivering services, and we will deliver those services. We heard of the city hall, where more than 100 million rand was spent to fix the city hall. I promise you, the city hall is nowhere near 100 million rand. The city hall is nowhere near 100 million rand. But the people are now saying that we should honor Solomon Mahlangu their way. Their way is to allow corruption and more corruption to take place. But our way is to say we stop corruption so that money could be channeled towards proper service delivery. That will indeed honor the spirit of Solomon Mahlangu. When faced with the challenges that seems insurmountable, it's often easier to fall into complacency. No, we did not fall into complacency. We were energized, and we had to know who we wanted to be as a city. We knew we wanted to be a city with an improved service infrastructure and maintenance to meet the demands required by our people. It was critical that we increase our the collection of revenue from the source to about 95% to provide the necessary revenue base upon which to provide better services. It is vital that we work towards a 24-hour one-stop customer care so that our residents are not frustrated by government bureaucracy, but rather that they have a pleasant experience when receiving services and are encouraged to pay the rates and taxes and cooperate with the city in the future. Our desire is to be a responsive government that treats our residents with respect in order to build a mutual trust with our residents. We are working to reach an 80% employee satisfaction rate, which will go a long way in ensuring that services that are delivered by an enthusiastic and professional staff complement is reached. And I think we can give our staff a round of applause, our men and women who've really decided not to play politics, but who have decided that they will do whatever needs to be done. They deserve a round of applause. We want to be a city that is safe and bustling neighborhoods and public spaces so that residents and tourists can move freely through the city and we can attract investment opportunities. We want to be a city that boasts that 100% of the tenders, the agreements and council resolutions are compliant with the law and awarded through a transparent process. Gone are the days where tenders are awarded behind closed doors. Gone are the days where tenders are awarded in passages and people are now just walking around with a lot of money, but we don't know how the processes have been dealt with. Without exception, we want to be a city that can provide affordable housing and social amenities closer to places of work. In instances where that is not possible, that an integrated citywide public transport system be made available. Ultimately, we want to make it easier for our residents to access opportunities and empower them to make use of those opportunities. Mindful of the magnitude of the task ahead of us, and that time was not on our side to provide better services to our people. We know we had to get going, and we had to begin. So we began. Council appointed a man in Mweketsi Musola to lead administration through some of the greatest and most precarious challenges this city has ever faced in the democratic dispensation. And he hit the ground running, and we are seeing some of the rewards of his hard work today. We have begun in earnest to stabilize government. We are looking forward to a fruitful working relationship that has already begun in earnest. And I think we can give him a round of applause. We began to labor on a workable adjustment budget, and we will continue by passing a fully funded, balanced budget that supports the IDP. The IDP has been through comprehensive public participation to ensure that it's aligned with our people's will. As we reflect and still reflect on the past financial predicaments in which our city finds itself, it is important to heed lessons that the Auditor General's financial statements offer and work tirelessly to turn our financial situation around, not just for the sake of fixing, but to ensure that we are now able to release money towards ensuring that our people's dignity can be restored and services can be delivered to them. To deliver on these promises, to deliver on the promise that we've made our people, a number of things had to be adhered to. And in the spirit, we urge our residents and the civil society to diligently engage the IDP and the draft budget that last week went out to for public comments. An IDP and a draft budget that prioritizes the needs of our people, especially the most vulnerable of our society. Let me reiterate, our IDP and our budget is going to be biased against the poor, towards the poor of our people. Our IDP and our budget is going to make sure that the people of Hammanskraal that has been eluded by jobs for the longest of time, that the people of Leeuwfontein that have been eluded for service delivery for the longest of time will eventually get services. But then it doesn't mean that we stop in maintaining some of the infrastructure that we already have. We are saying to the people of Garsfontein, we are saying to the people of Valhalla, those pipes that have been installed, that have long passed their sell-by date, will be replaced and will ensure that you get world-class service of a world-class city. An IDP, in real terms, let me start to break it down in real terms what it will mean. When I talk about an IDP and a budget that it will be aimed at ensuring that our poor will receive the services that they deserve, let me break it down to you in terms of numbers, what we mean by that. First of all, we are saying that 10,150 new meters or water meters connections will be delivered to our people. So all those informal settlements, all those houses that are now sitting without water coming into the yards, we are saying, now we are going to make sure that you get water in your yards. We are saying that we want to improve the weekly waste removal services. Gone are the days where we will be held to ransom by one contractor who's got connections with the politicians that were there before, in ensuring that we, the city, will be held to ransom at millions and millions of rents every month. We are saying we are changing this around and will ensure that the people will live in dignity. Rubbish will be removed when it's supposed to be removed, on time, every day when it's supposed to be removed. We are saying that 6,500 new households will have access to sanitation. Long drop rona. Toilets are flushing. 6,500 of new sanitation facilities will be built in our areas in this financial year. We are saying also that we will have 10,400 new electricity connections. We don't want this nyoga. We are saying we need to provide electricity to our people in a fair manner, in a way that it is formalized and it's safe for them. So we are saying 10,400 new electrification connections will be done in this year. 121 kilometers of municipal stormwater drainage network will be provided this year. 13 kilometers of tarred road will be provided to communities who have never had a tarred road before. That is something that we are going to do this coming year. I am making a plea today, and I'm making a promise here today, that in this coming financial year, we are going to formalize 7 informal settlements. And this is now a project that I'm calling Project Irani. I am launching Project Irani today, and I'm saying from Monday, our officials are going to hit the ground running as we implement the Project Irani, that will see 7 informal settlements getting formalization. I am saying we are going to realize, note my words, we are going to realize 104,000 new jobs in this coming year. We are saying opportunities for jobs must be created. And I will talk to you when we get to the breaking down of where those jobs will be coming from. You see, I'm not going to make a promise of 500,000 jobs when I don't know where those jobs are coming from. We are saying where those jobs are going to be coming from, and I'll tell you just in a moment. The city is also looking to attract an approximately 10.8 billion rand in investment, and the rejuvenation of our inner city will go a long way to achieving this. The inner city rejuvenation program is not designed to stifle the work of informal traders. Okay, issues. We are not here to stifle the work of informal traders, but we want to work hand in hand with informal traders to ensure that they become contributors. Bakai barekisi, bakai the barekisi bakai. But where's the other informal trader union as well, the group as well? We are saying, we want to work with you. We are not going to work against you, but we want you to work with us in taking this city forward. We can do it and we will do it. We are saying that we want to have informal sites or the formal sites for informal traders in our city. We are saying our informal traders also play an integral role in the economy of our city. But in saying that, I want to say to informal traders as well, it cannot be that when we are cleaning the city in the evening, the very next day there's a gogo who's sitting there peeling maize meal and leaving all those peels on the pavement. We need to work together. We are ready to work with you. We are hoping that you will work with us, and indeed will take the city of ours going forward. We are saying that for this to happen, this city has to be safer, and by ridding itself all illicit activities. Building and infrastructure had to be restored in order to attract big business and investors, and make Tshwane conducive for trade, inviting for residents and tourists. We want to make sure that our CBD become a CBD that people want to come and live in there again. We want to make sure that our CBD is a CBD that will have restaurant that you can take your children there and enjoy as much as you can enjoy going to Main Lane right now. And it starts with all of us working together, and we'll make sure that that happens. Many of these initiatives will be supported by a funded budget. Let me repeat. Many of these initiatives will be supported by a funded budget. We are not going to do what the previous administration did of starting projects all over the show and leaving those projects half done, where our kids have been falling into dark holes, where people have been electrocuted because some of the projects have been left halfway. We are saying when we start our projects, we're starting our projects that we know we'll be able to fund and ensure that we will see them to conclusion. That is the message that we want our people to know. We also believe that the IDP highlights the fundamental, spatial and economic realities of the city of Tshwane, and will further provide a baseline upon which the current administration can work from in order to propel the city going forward. The restructured IDP will achieve sustainability, address poverty, provide dignity, and be responsible technically, fiscally, and economically. Within the Tshwane's context, the geographical areas and types of projects that are more likely to achieve these objectives will be those that address the eradication of service backlogs, spatial restructuring, and those projects that are catalytic to the economic development. We believe that the will of the people ought to be at the apex of our priorities, and we need our people to contribute to the running of their city. We want our people to be heard, not just during the elections, but in their day-to-day running of their homes, streets, and places of work. Madam Speaker, allow me to talk about the tariff hikes and affordability to our residents. In order to cater for the underprivileged households, the city has in place an indigent program which allows eligible households earning a combined gross income to qualify for rebate support or a service subsidy as determined by the municipality. In terms of the indigent policy, beneficiaries need to be reevaluated every 24 months to verify the economic and social position. We've heard lies about the DA-led administration coming in and taking away all the POPs that were there. We've noted with dismay that the same people that went and told people that we want to take away the POP, the indigent, are the same people that were denying the people that are deserving to be on those lists. I remember seeing a Gogon yesterday who was on wheelchair, who's been turned from pillar to post every time that she wanted to go and register for an indigent grant. But then when we did an assessment about who was on the grant or who was on the database, it was shocking to find that people who are employees of the municipality were there. It was shocking to find that people who were earning salaries 10 times what qualifies anybody to be on the database were actually on the database. And we wanted to start cleaning that up. And it made other people unhappy because then they couldn't afford or they couldn't now stay on a database illegally. It meant we're kicking them up. And I want to say to the people of Tshwane, when we are kicking them out, we are making space for you who are deserving to be on that database, and you will be inserted onto that database. We also want to address the multitude of inefficiencies and the fraud that we inherited on the database. Madam Speaker, it was shocking, as I said, that non-qualifying households who are illegally receiving the indigent benefits, some of them are business people. I remember going into one house in Atteridgeville, and somebody who has a cold room, you would know that a cold room is if you have a cold room, it means you are running a serious business. Somebody who has a cold room was actually on the indigent database. Somebody who could stop an SAB truck and offload the whole SAB truck, meaning that that person is doing well in business, was on the database. And we said it cannot be. When we have a gogo in Hammanskraal who needs to be on that database, but somebody's blocking them out, it cannot be, and we need to correct that, and we are correcting that. Our goal is to work towards a list that ensures that all those who qualify for social assistance receive the assistance they deserve, while removing those from the system who have benefited unlawfully. Madam Speaker, it is also common cause that when an institution is experiencing change, there will be a lot of anxiety, which requires delicate management. Achieving our goal will require us to adhere to the two guiding principles of stabilization and revitalization that will help us in delivering services better for our people, more efficient services that should be delivered to our people. These are the terms that have guided our mayoral committee and myself through some of the most trying times in the resuscitation of the Tshwane government's ability to deliver better services. The stabilization of this new government is the critical foundation of which to create an environment for attracting investment into our beautiful city. We were also abundantly clear that those who are leading this charge were ready to internalize the value and ethos of excellence that our city needs to make progress. This means that we had to be smart about how we use little money that we have and use that money more responsibly. Madam Speaker, as unpopular as it was, we amended the microstructure to cut down on unnecessary expenditure on a top-heavy management structure that saw institutional duplication and not actual delivery on the ground. I want to say to those that have voted with us, the fighters, I've heard you. You say that we should work towards ensuring that we have meaningful and proper and permanent employment. And this is why we have turned it around and say we don't need to have too many chiefs at the top, but let us make sure that we have people on the ground that we can upskill and make sure that we absorb and make sure that we get them ready to work. It's a process that will take a bit of time. Once it's gone through the LLF, we'll get it right and we'll ensure that we are able to employ those people that will not only be cleaners of the city, but will be able to employ people who will be welders, will be able to employ people that will be electricians, will be able to employ people that will be plumbers, in order for us to address services in our city and taking our city going forward. That is something that we are working towards. It was clear for the purpose of creating a leaner and cleaner machine to ensure that the framework of efficient service delivery was in place to deliver professional services to our people. We were able to recruit diligent senior management who have committed to striving for excellence and who will be performance managed and monitored on the basis of achieving our goals. This will in turn be supported by the adjustment budget we were able to pass unanimously, which will start to deal with the almost 2 billion rand deficit incurred by the previous administration. During the formulation of the adjustment budget, it became more and more clear that the former administration's management of public funds was nothing short of dismal. In preparing the adjustment budget, the council's consideration whether it was clear that the former administration did not care at all about the betterment of the people they were elected to service. They instead elected to prioritize self-interest and vanity project. This has had real implications on the city's finances and its capabilities. By not investing in proper supply chain processes, the former administration willingly allowed for millions of rands to be looted from the Tshwane's coffers. This is most aptly evident by the checkpoints shoe polish debacle. I'm sure you all can remember that, to the tune of approximately 30 million rand. That went towards shoe polishes that we could have gotten much, much cheaper than what we did. Weak supply chain discipline also allowed for a panel to be set up circumventing due processes in botched City Hall renovations that will require more money to fix. As such, financially stable and viable city was the first priority in addressing the systematic problem that had given birth to so much discontentment within our communities. This includes, but is not limited to, the drug trade and the associated illicit activities that accompany it. It has also given rise to the tensions that have arisen past few months because of lack of opportunities fostered in an incapable city. It is for this reason that we have also prioritized the proliferation of the EPWP job opportunities for the people of Tshwane. Now let me talk about how we start creating jobs. Within the next financial year, the city is looking to create 23,000 EPWP job opportunities for our people to alleviate the burden of poverty. We are saying our EPWP project will also be different to how the EPWP project have been implemented. People are not gonna get EPWP jobs based on the cards that they're carrying, on whether they know the city, the manager or not, or whether they know a councillor or not. It's going to be on a fair process that everybody will have an opportunity to get an EPWP job. We are saying as well that our EPWP jobs as well should incorporate a sense of training in them so that after the people have gone through the 6 months or 1 year of being in a contract with through EPWP, they have something that says, I have been trained, I can go and market myself, I'll be a better person tomorrow. That is what we want to give our people. Importantly, we will ensure that these opportunities are distributed in a fair and transparent manner, as I said, not on the basis of party political affiliation. This will be supported by numerous projects we intend to commence within the next coming financial year. These job opportunities will be supported by the building of a new fire station in Mamelodi. Let me repeat. The people of Mamelodi have cried for the longest of time to say when there's fires there, they have to wait for a fire truck to come either from Kalinen in Refilwe or to come from Silverton. I am saying to the people of Mamelodi, come this coming financial year, you'll see a building going up in Mamelodi. A new Mamelodi fire station will be built there in Mamelodi for you. We are saying that the creation of job opportunities will also be made possible by the 660 million rand investment in our industrial nodes, such as Watlu, Roslim, Kangala, and Babelehi, and other identified areas with respect to bulk infrastructure that brings work opportunities closer to the people of those areas. You remember I did say that I have investors that were coming and are saying that they are more than willing to come and invest. But when we showed them some of the infrastructure, they said, if you fix this infrastructure, we are more than willing to come and invest here. And that's how we are going to be creating those jobs. And that's how we begin to turn the city around, by investing in those areas that begin to attract investment so that our people will have a dignified life and not depend on the smaller skeletons subsidies that can and cannot come every month. We are saying we want our people to move away from social grants into a state where they are self-dependent and they can really fend for their own families. By the introduction of an open bid adjudication process, we will ensure that the business done with the city is fair and free from corruption as part of our commitment to being an open and transparent government. And that access to work opportunities that flow from this project is equally fair, equitable and free from corruption so that more of our people can benefit from the work being done in the city. The city believes that in making opportunities available to the largest number of people, exclusion periods for those previously employed, ranging from 1 to 3 months, have been tailored to ensure that EPWP jobs does not repeatedly benefit the same group of individuals to the exclusion of others. Significantly, the approach excludes councillors from involvement in the recruitment process to avoid the program being abused for political purposes and vote buying. We are saying councillors are not going to be involved anymore. We are tired of hearing people saying, "Re a tshaba gore ge re ka se tlile batho ba ba 10 ba re le mantaga re se ka tla mmerekong." We are saying we are giving our people contracts to say you are an employee of the city. Whether you are politically affiliated or you're not politically affiliated, you are going to be an employee and you deserve. Significantly, the approach, as I said, will exclude councillors from the involvement. So, Madam Speaker, the fight against corruption and the provision of work for our people has long since begun. In order to get to this point, it was critically important to fully appreciate the complete and utter mess that we inherited at the hands of the former administration. The poor political leadership and financial mismanagement of the past has put considerable strain on the city's ability to function and provide the services our people not only need, but in fact deserve. Therefore, turning around the city's finances is our apex priority so that we can deal with the infrastructure that the former administration made no provision for and allowed to suffer for years of neglect with respect to preventative infrastructure maintenance. To put this in context, a meager 4% was allocated to preventative maintenance of water infrastructure. For a metro this size, it's almost criminal. Because this has real and meaningful implications to the city's ability to deal speedily with water interruptions. To address this, in part, the city has made an initial 30 million rand investment into the restoration of water infrastructure in the last 2 months and have tendered for a 2 billion rand contract to refurbish, upgrade, and replace some of the ailing infrastructure that was neglected. The people of Rayval and going to Temba, Amanskral, Skampaneng, gone will be the days. And we are bringing that to you. We are saying to the people of Soshanguve, now they've been dealing with pipes that have been burst for the longest of time. We are already, in certain areas, have already completed the project since we've taken over. And we are going to make sure that those other projects are completed to make sure that you get the services that you deserve. This, in real terms, means that more people across the city will have reliable access to water for their everyday use. This is not a unique problem to our city, Madam Speaker, but it's also an indicative of the poor and irresponsible use of the city's money by those who preoccupied themselves with a vanity project such as the Mayor's Mansion. Speaking of the Mayor's Mansion, I've taken a decision following an extensive consultation, and I'm happy to announce today that I will be selling the Mayor's Mansion. Yes. We will be selling the Mayor's Mansion. We will be selling the Mayor's Mansion. We will sell the Mayor's Mansion and will ensure that after we sell that mansion, that money will go towards housing a number of families. So we will build houses for a number of families where there's a serious need. We will ensure that our people are indeed the VIPs. I wish to commit to the people of Tshwane, as I said, that the proceeds of this mansion will be earmarked to building houses for so many people as much as we possibly can. I wish to invite you and those businesses that might be interested to come, as I will be taking you through a tour of the mayoral house, because I need to make as much money out of that house so that I can build as many houses for so many of our people. Despite this less than desirable picture we inherited, and the passing of the adjustment budget, I wish to reassure the people of Tshwane of this administration's commitment to turn the city's finances around. Arguably, our greatest achievement thus far has been to pass a fully funded adjustment budget, as we currently formulate a realistic and progressive budget to put to council at the end of May 2017. While dealing with the high levels of budget politics, we have held on to tight of our commitment to providing services at the same time. Hold on. I'm still getting warmed up. Like I said before, it's only just but the beginning. Madam Speaker, please allow me to talk about water and sanitation. The National Department of Water and Sanitation published a notice in the Government Gazette on the 12th of August 2016 on limiting the use of water of urban and irrigation purposes from the catchment areas of the integrated Vaal River system. 15% of the curtailment of urban water usage was required. The city of Tshwane, as at the 16th of January 2017, achieved a saving on 21.7%, and I think we deserve a round of applause for that. So the minister said save 15%, but the people of Tshwane heard our plea and decided to go further, and we saved 21.7%. This was due to a cooperation of the city's residents, and after the city launched an aggressive awareness campaign to inform residents and businesses, which included, amongst others, the informing of residents about the current water shortage situation and restrictions to be implemented, to urge consumers to use water sparingly and to reduce water demand by 15%, to urge residents to report water leaks, and to ensure that residents that when they are reporting those leaks, we are prioritizing and attending to those reported water losses. The water and sanitation education day-to-day activities were done to promote awareness. We went on a guiding and communication spree to make sure that our young people understand the responsibility of using water responsibly. It focuses on the need to restore and preserve the integrity of our most precious resource, that is the water. The level of the Vaal Dam is now in excess of 90%, which has seen the lifting of water restrictions by the minister. However, we continue to encourage our residents to continue to use water sparingly to avoid ending up with the water scarcity in our future. But so we have to continue to use water sparingly. We thank our residents for their discipline and their patience in this regard while we work in earnest to ensure that we begin to deal with the infrastructure backlog that continue to plague our city. I'm happy to announce that the MMC responsible for infrastructure, Councillor Daryl Moss, on Monday attended the project completion meeting Soshanguve water pipe replacement. The pipes in Block AA and F were old asbestos cement pipes and that have long past their design life were leaking profusely. The community requested a pipe replacement project, and the city was able to fit this into the overall program. The project was of an 8 months duration and was valued at about 10.8 million rand. 4,653 meters of pipe was replaced and 59 local laborers were employed. Progress is indeed being made. Madam Speaker, let me now talk about the energy and electricity. Electrification of households play an important role to the city at large. The supply of electricity to new households will improve the lives and living conditions of our communities. You don't have to connect in this coming year. A few areas that have been identified through the current leadership where new connections have been planned, the projects are underway and other projects are completed. These areas include the Nel Mafias Extension 24, where 1,000 connections are done in Ward 15. In Soshanguve South, Extension 19 have planned a number of 500 households that will receive electricity. Mamelodi Extension 5, 74 households will receive electricity. In Melusi, Balawatibang Tanele, we are saying to them over 200 of those houses will now receive electricity once and for all. In Winterfeld, we are saying 256 households will also receive electricity in the coming year. To date, more than 80% of households in the city have access to electricity. This goal is achieved through the partnership between the city and Eskom. Although most people have access to electricity, the energy mix of the city is still not diverse. This is something that the city is working diligently to fix. The department is focusing on providing a sustainable supply of electricity and investing in bulk infrastructure and network upgrading. By achieving this goal, the city is providing an increase in access of households with electricity. Those projects include the upgrading and construction of the new primary substations and high voltage power lines, The following milestones have been achieved, and the projects include, but not limited to, the upgrading of the Eldorain substation, whereby a new substation is built and all the indoor equipment of the 11 kV switchgear, control and protection panels, and all of the auxiliary equipment are installed and commissioned. The outdoor yard paving and fencing is completed. Working high voltage yard is in progress, with the construction of the reserve bus bar and the bus coupler already completed. The testing and commissioning of the reserve bus bar is in progress. We are also going to be installing new infrastructure, electricity infrastructure in Mamelodi. The people of Mamelodi have been for the longest time complained that there is an overload on the substation that is there. And we are saying to Bona, we will ensure that every corner of this city of ours have access to safe, sustainable and affordable electricity. We are making strides. As I mentioned earlier, we and our partners in government are committed to finding new and innovative ways to make the supply of electricity sustainable and affordable for our people. In view of this, I'm happy to announce our flagship policy on embedded power generation, which promotes small-scale solar power generation by residents, whereby they have the opportunity to sell their excess power back to the city. Embedded power generation is essentially allowing small power generation by residents on small businesses for their own use. If we are able to get them those panels, they'll be able to sell that same electricity. So it's not only the people of Wanangu or Tatlufu that will benefit from that. Even the people of Wanangu in an RDP house, as long as you are able to generate more electricity than you need, you will be able to make money off it, or at least offset it against the money that you will be buying electricity from in the city. And that is our way of thinking going forward. And we want to implement that. In simple terms, as I said, the generation of solar power electricity from rooftop panels during the day, and they will be able to sell that access to the city. At night, when the residents cannot generate solar power, they can purchase from the city. This is a major step in our renewable policy, power policy, and our first step in real green power development. The spare electricity generated can be used to make up during instances where we have a shortfall. This innovation mitigates both the economic impact and inconveniencing of load shedding that comes with winter periods, and save to the cost of billions and millions the cost of buying electricity at peak rates. We have begun to illuminate our city once again. Roads and infrastructure. A meeting was held at Laxmundi Gemen Church with MMC of Roads and Transport, Councillor Sheila Sinkobuge, as well as senior managers for the Tshwane bus services, where concerns were raised by the commuters. The commuters further indicated that they have even established a WhatsApp group to ensure that commuter communication platforms that keep them updated on the bus arrivals, etc., is available. In responding, the senior management acknowledged the shortfall and indicated that in resolving the current inconsistencies, the current bus schedule have been recently revised in order to align with the current resources available. That is the 162 shifts with effect from November 2016. This is to maintain consistency as well as to build commuter trust. TBS senior management also committed to establishing a Facebook page as requested by the commuters, as it proven to be effective means of communication. One such query received from the Facebook was from one Sbu Nunu, who's from Block T in Soshanguve, who wrote, "Good morning, Mr. Mayor. Can you kindly address the issue of tar roads in Block T, Soshanguve? This is indeed one of the apex priority in the roads and transport space, which you are seeking to address, Boo. And I am committing to you today that the roads of Soshanguve will be dealt with once and for all." This platform not only is not only about compliments, is not only about complaints, but also commuters have also sang praises to some of the improvements already implemented and rapid response they normally receive from the TBS when complaints are raised. The commuters singled out a single driver, Mtate John Lisinga, who drives 1135 shifts and who on one occasion, found a laptop and managed to return it to the rightful owner who left it in the bus unattended. Thank you, Ntate Lesinga. We want to say it's employees like yourself who are honest and professional that really puts our service and our city at the top. Yours is an example that all the city servants should be following. A visit to Brongo Spruit was conducted where service delivery matters such as the disintegrated roads, unavailability of grader drivers, potholes, etc. were discussed at length. And site visits were conducted to have first-hand experience of the matters raised so that the meaningful solutions can be found and pursued. We also conducted a visit to Region 1 where various areas were visited to highlight the state of roads that were in terrible state and the stormwater drainage that's poorly maintained, which is the problem that we identified as needing attention to avoid people falling victim to the flood experienced late last year in Johannesburg and other parts of the province. In order to resolve the above raised issues, which are more maintenance related, the regions together with the roads and transports are now to revisit the current planned maintenance plan with the intention of revitalizing it to get alignment with the current burning issues of service delivery. MMC Sikombuge, alongside her senior management, is doing all that is possible to improve the seemingly broken down relationship with commuters and further request commuters not to hesitate when unfairly treated so that explanation can be provided to enhance service delivery. Come along for this journey with us as we create a mobile and efficient city. Ntumelle, Madam Speaker, ke bue ka dintlo kampo yona human settlement and housing and human settlement. We as a city have noticed that there is a high demand for affordable rental, which the city thinks that needs to be receiving serious attention. The city has developed a project pipeline that will ensure that affordable rental market is catered for. Of these projects, the townlands, which is being implemented by the city, will yield 1,200 units. Implementation will be done in phases as the project will be completed in 2019. Tembelihle Village, which is implemented by the YCH, will yield 733 new units. This flagship project is currently under construction and is done with phase 1. And it's also done in phases, and phase 1 is also completed. The first phase of the 241 units have been completed, and the units have already been occupied since the 1st of February 2017. Over and above that, the city is in the process of developing an affordable rental housing strategy plan, which will assist in accelerating the delivery of affordable rental stock. In order to achieve this, the city is committed to working closer with the stakeholders, Gauteng Department of Education, the Gauteng Department of Human Settlement, the Social Housing Regulatory Authority, the Gauteng Partnership Fund, and other relevant stakeholders in order to derive benefits that acquire from working together. New homeowners rejoiced in Soshanguve Extension 12 and 13 when Councillor Mandla Nkomo and MMC for Housing and Human Settlement, along with the Councillor of Ward 37, Councillor Simpiwe Montla, and the officials of the Housing and Human Settlement Department on the 25th of February 2017 handed over title deeds on properties to 216 residents. But we have already started doing that. The residents expressed their happiness after they were given the title deeds for their properties. However, there are 468 title deeds that still needs to be handed over in the next coming few weeks. And we are hoping that the residents will also come up to claim their title deeds. Housing officials in Region 1 will continue to issue these title deeds. Therefore, people, as I said, are encouraged to visit our offices to collect them. Over and above that, the department is in the process of finalizing an outstanding 1,460 registrations out of the combined project totaling 3,198 properties. The housing handover ceremony at KT Mutubazi Hall in Soshanguve was met with undue disruptions by quarters of the community led by members of the former administration who are clearly still bitter about the electoral defeat. What is truly disappointing is that this was done in an attempt to disrupt the handover of much needed housing and title deeds for the people of Tshwane who desperately need them. In any event, we were able to make progress on our mandate of handing over the houses and the title deeds to eligible members of the community who had been waiting for this for some time. Despite attempt to disrupt the meeting, the handover of houses and title deed did proceed. Additionally, a total of 6,000 title deeds are ready and will be conferred to beneficiaries over the coming weeks. Mensa van eersteres ons kom na julle, ons bring julle title deeds na toe. The city of Tshwane is working with the provisional government to ensure that a range of housing opportunities are available for different income levels and speeding up the delivery of title deeds to state subsidized housing so that the recipients have legal ownership of their homes. Projects currently being implemented include construction of tarred roads in Soshanguve, extension 12 and 13, where the community will enjoy dust-free streets. The main road is currently being tarred in extension 13 and a total of 3.5 kilometers will be completed by the end of the year, with the remaining 3.5 kilometers to be completed in the new financial year. Internal streets of 3-kilometer distances are tarred in both extensions, and the remainder of 17 kilometers will be completed in the next 2 financial years. A total of 46 million rand have been approved for this work in this financial year. Under the multi-party government, Madam Speaker, Tshwane will continue to champion equitable and fair access to a range of housing solutions to deserving individuals. This, like Rome, will take time, but sit tight, people of Tshwane. Change is here. It takes time. Look at what we have been able to achieve in the short space that we have taken. And it is only time that we'll need to complete all the projects that we say we want to complete. We have just begun. Community safety and security. Governments across the globe have a duty to keep communities safe, to protect the lives and limb of their residents, and to inspire investor confidence. It is common cause that investors are more reluctant to invest in places where crime is rampant because this causes threats to human capital and the business they set up in any given location. In any given location that is highlighted by meeting with, as we have here, meeting with ambassadors and high commissioners from the EU countries. They are people that want to come and invest in our country and come and invest in our city. But they are saying they want to ensure that this city is safe and their investment will not be lost. We received a petition from the Pretoria North community. The concerns raised in the community were that the road safety concerns, visibility of the Tshwane Metropolitan and the general safety in the ward. The Speaker's Office representatives, together with the MMC for Community Safety, Councillor Derek Kisonduth, received the petition, and a solid working partnership between the different stakeholders were emphasized in order to ensure a safe city for, that will be a city that is called Tshwane for all. MMC Kisonduth also met with religious leaders to discuss the plan of action around the safety and security in the municipality. The discussion was also channeled towards building strong working relationships with the different sectors within the municipality. I'm very proud as well that the US ambassador offered the city of Tshwane a training opportunity to the Tshwane Metropolitan Department to train fellow female Metropolis officers to attend a women's leadership institution that will be held later in 2017 in Cape Town. The meeting was also used to strengthen the working relationships between the city and the Embassy of the United States of America. The embassy also offered consulting services in terms of policing, police management, and police strategies and leadership. The Social Crime Prevention Unit conducted several awareness campaigns around the city on the following issues: domestic violence, scholar patrol, and road safety campaign. The TMP drug unit recorded 14 arrests of drug-related crime in different parts of the city, and suspects were arrested for possession of drugs. The unit also made 2 arrests of stolen vehicles, and the vehicle were recovered. Several arrests were made in the Honest Port area for cable theft. That I will talk to you about a little bit later on. Allow me, Madam Speaker, to touch on a subject that is very close to my heart, that I think as a city we need to be paying much attention to. And that is the issue of drugs. Appreciating that drugs are a scourge on our community and keep our citizens away from the productivity or are driven to a drug-related crime and illicit activity. We recognize that the city needs to needs a comprehensive region-specific focus on our drug problem to implement the great work already being done by our anti-drug unit we've announced last year. Our administration remains committed to fighting the drug problem in recognition of the devastating impact it has on our communities. If you want to know how bad it is, I urge you to go to Boom Street and see what Bluetooth does to our young people. Their skin now have bumps all over. They are all day they are working aimlessly, and that is something that we cannot allow. I want to send a very strong message to those that are selling drugs go Brown Street, to those that are selling drugs go Easteres, to those that are selling drugs in Temba, to those that are selling drugs in all our areas, including Quatridgeville. Your days are numbers. We will be coming after you, and we'll make sure that you will spend some time in jail, not messing with the future of our people. Our preoccupation is to fight the drug problem, Madam Speaker, while creating opportunities for employment and productivity across the city to employ our people so that they may too live a better life and not be condemned to a life of poverty or even condemned to death. We have to rescue our lost generation from this, and we have to leverage our region and our regions and existing tools to make progress in this regard. Some of the work in our regions have gone a long way to denting the problem we face with drug abuse as follows. In Region 1A, Garankuwa Mabopane, 5 NPOs were funded, Aga Setšhaba, Kamogelong ya Setšhaba, Kopano ya Matla, Tusong Care and Support, Fatoga Rehabilitation Center in the month of February. The NPOs managed to collectively reach 1,298 people, including direct users, through the programs such as Service Users Day, in which they identified for referral workshops presented by the South African Tuberculosis Association, awareness campaign, door-to-door campaigns, health talks, parent support groups, individual counseling, and parents of services users. In Region 1B, the Soshanguve Winterfeld area, this is one of the largest area which has 13 NPOs. Letsema for Development and Democracy, Performance, Incorporate, CNYCC, Tshwane Youth Outreach, Heavens Defense Force, Sanka Castle Kerry, Atlegang Sanka, Soshanguve, Boto Socio Psychology, Africa Entle, Dream Team Foundation, Murungwa Rehabilitation Centers, Araba Thabeleng Youth Development, Rock of Faith. Activities included the Kimoja program, which gave skills on life skills training workshops, awareness campaigns, prayer sessions, prison tours for service users, support group sessions, dialogue, youth camps, sports tournaments, puppet show, and wellness exhibition schools. A number of 2,598 people were reached through this program, and 153 service users were engaged during that time. Madam Speaker, we've heard a lot of lies about what this administration is and will not be doing and what will be doing. Let me say this once and for all. The Wi-Fi in Tshwane is not going anywhere. The people of Tshwane will get Wi-Fi. The lies that we are going to cut Wi-Fi are very much untold. Let's unmask the lies a little bit. The Auditor General came back and said the contract of the free Wi-Fi was entered into illegally and was wasteful expenditure. We are saying our people will continue to get that. In fact, we are saying the areas that don't even have Wi-Fi right now will get Wi-Fi. And it will not cost the city as much as it's costing the city right now. We are looking into finding ways of ensuring that Wi-Fi will be able to pay for itself so that we can take those hundreds of millions that we are paying towards Wi-Fi and ensure that we can channel them towards ensuring that we lay more pipes for people to get water. We lay more pipes so that people can have better sewage systems, so that we can ensure that we build houses for our people. So we are going to be doing all those things without disadvantaging our people by taking the free system away from them. They will continue to get the Wi-Fi. All we are saying is that we are finding alternative ways of funding this noble cause. Currently, there are about 1,050 live hotspots across the city of Tshwane, and all of them are operational. Unavailable hotspots were the result of power failures, fiber breaks, or equipment failure. And these were all responded to and reported as agreed with the service provider. The current network operation uptime is above the agreed 95% level and is maintained at about 80% availability. While some of the sites may experience long outages due to fiber break that could take a few days to repair, most of the sites remain constantly active and serve almost 300,000 daily connectors across the city. We will expand this service, as I said, to open up new and innovative opportunities for millions of people within our borders to participate in our economy and make a better life for themselves. We thank you for the patience thus far. We are encouraged by your patience and your resilience. And we want to say that we want to build and create a techni-savvy city, and in earnest, we have started doing that. Madam Speaker, allow me to talk about one of our most successful industrial areas, the Roslyn Industrial Park. Roslyn is indeed an anchor for the city's industrial hub and is exceptionally well positioned to serve the city's economic revelation in this regard. As a city, we are proud to be associated with a manufacturer and assembler of passenger vehicles that are mainly produced in Roslyn and Pretoria East area. According to the Automotive Industry Development Center, the municipality produces 40% of South Africa's automotive output. The recent expansion plan by BMW to the tune of 6 billion rand and Nissan expansion from 40,000 units to 80,000 units in their plants in the Roslyn bears testimony that this industry hub is full of potential and opportunity. Looking ahead, a public-private partnership project is the key to the development of the Tshwane Automotive City, the special economic zone where the chain of auto suppliers will be located. And we are working very, very hard to attract another automotive assembler to Roslyn or to the Waterloo area, where we want to create thousands and thousands of new jobs. And we will make sure that we make that announcement very, very soon. Around the Vonnegut Airport, Madam Speaker, I want to say that the City of Tshwane Metropolitan Council has identified the Vonnegut Airport as one of the municipal's most important strategic assets. The city is now completing a comprehensive development program aimed at maximizing the value of this asset to a capital city of South Africa. Furthermore, I unveiled a new corporate identity for the Vonnegut Airport in October last year as part of the 80th anniversary celebration of the airport. The new identity is part of the plan to expand the use of Vonnegut Airport, to facilitate tourism and to grow the city's economy. Vonnegut is the only city-owned commercial airport in South Africa, presenting a unique opportunity to Tshwane to create a new hub of tourism and commercial activity. We'll work very, very hard to make sure that Vonnegut is being used to serve our people, and we can leverage it to make sure that we create more job opportunities for thousands of our people going forward. The TMPD new, yes, you can clap. The TMPD new unit for protecting our assets. The City of Tshwane has a dedicated unit to deal decisively with illegal land grabs. I know that the fighters have said that land should be grabbed wherever possible. But grabbing land where there's no services makes it difficult for us when we have to come and lay those services. You know what our people will build on top of each other that even when you want to come and put a pipe, sometimes it becomes impossible for us to do that. So we want to make sure that all the identified pieces of land, we are able to then put services on those pieces of land, and we are able to allocate people that are in desperate need. So we are asking that work with us, not against us. And we know that those that were in government that had failed to implement these things are the ones that are now spearheading this campaign to say that occupy each and every piece of land. But I want to say something to them. You see, you forget that your party is still in government in other municipalities and in other provinces. So if you are saying this is the way that needs to happen in Tshwane, so it means that in those other areas, then we should also continue to do the same thing. And that is not sustainable. That is something that we have to denounce and stop dead on its tracks. Because then it stalls the services, the delivering of services to our people. We are committed to ensuring that our people will have service stands that they will have title deeds to. But we need our people to work with us, not against us. We have noted once again that the spiraling and the coordinated and ad hoc acts of land grabs that is taking place around the city, and in some cases where people are illegally selling those pieces of land. We will act on those that are selling those pieces of land, because nobody has a right to sell municipal land without getting any approval from the city, and we'll make sure that we act on that. The TMPD is working tirelessly to make sure that we are able to bring this unbecoming behavior under control. It is critical that the community be involved in tackling the land invasion, as community members can often be the victims of unscrupulous people unlawfully selling land. For instance, community members can promptly report information on land invasion or provide information on people suspected of selling municipal land. It is also important that the respected community leaders can be involved and should be involved in tackling land invasion. In addition to this, the city has recognized the growing trend of cable theft that is not unique to the city of Tshwane, but has the potential to hamper the sustainability and the provision of services to our city. This issue of cable theft is really becoming a serious problem at Tshwane. BMW is now questioning whether they should continue to invest when they are interrupted each and every time due to cable theft. Our people and hospitals from time to time have to go without electricity. So it's not just the inconvenience of a household not having electricity. It has also other impacts. It also impacts on other sectors as well. The economic sector, the health sector are also implicated and impacted on this. So it's up to us to work as community to make sure that izinyoka are taken out of their holes and put in jail where they deserve, not amongst our community, because they are robbing our community of prosperity. They are robbing of their communities of the services that they deserve. So we have now launched a cable theft unit as well that will ensure that we work tirelessly to bring this stubborn outbreak under control and ensure that those that are continuing to steal from our people are brought to book. And in doing that, the Tshwane Metropolitan Department, which renders the following services in order to mitigate against the cable theft within the city. We are now putting static guards posted at open trenches, new trenches and substations. We regularly patrol trenches and hotspots as well as substations. We regularly inspect and conduct inspections at scrap yards to ensure accreditation and compliance. We have now given our Metro Police leeway to go and search all the scrap yards that are now dealing with scrap metals. And if we ever find you dealing with the city's cable, you will be then sent to jail. We have had a meeting with the minister. We have had a meeting with the minister as well as the president to say we need to do something about this cable theft. And this is something that they've committed to helping us to resolve. We will work with all the relevant state departments to ensure that we bring this pandemic under control. The cable theft success for 2016 in October saw us recovering 114 kilos of our 114 kilos of our stolen cable and 64,000 rand worth of equipment that was also used during the stealing of this cable has also been recovered. The cable theft was regarded as sabotage in some instances. And we are saying this is sabotage because in some instances you see that kilometers and kilometers of trenches where people know exactly where to dig is being done. So it means that these are people who know exactly what it is they're doing. These are not zamazamas. These are people who know and possibly are the ones that have laid the same cables before who are stealing them. And we are saying we are hot on your trail. We will come for you. And if you are an employee of the city involved in any of these activities, we will be coming for you. We want to say that we want to work very, very hard with our CPFs and with our other community groups in ensuring that we assist each other in patrolling our streets, in ensuring that we are able to report on this theft of cables in our city. Madam Speaker, Allow me as well to talk about the homeless policy that we have launched. The city is experiencing a growing problem of homelessness within its areas of jurisdiction. According to the 2010 South African Cities Network report, an estimated 200,000 people who are homeless in South Africa are found in big cities for practical reasons. The Statistics South Africa report published in 2012 estimates that there are about 6,244 homeless people living in Tshwane alone. We have put in place a policy document to humanize the approach to street homelessness. They must not be victimized but supported. To this end, we will identify needs for care and support to facilitate the provision of appropriate care and to prevent homelessness whenever possible, and to provide sustainable long-term solution to homelessness through a holistic reintegration strategy and action program. We realize that the need to coordinate a multi-stakeholder response to the problem of homelessness. We have thus far partnered with the University of South Africa, the University of Pretoria, and the Tshwane Homelessness Forum to find sustainable solution to this challenge. Our policy document assets the city as home for all who live in it, thus including the street homeless population. Regardless of the cause of their homelessness and whether they live themselves on the street temporarily or chronically. The city will attempt to alleviate the problem by converting some of its property to repurpose it with a view of creating a homeless shelter. We will, in the next year, identify 1 or 2 properties that we will be able to convert into a homeless shelter for our people. That is something that we are committing to. The policy document envisions a safe and secure environment for all who live in the city, both those who currently live in the permanent house and those who are homeless. It is therefore seeks to advance the social, economic, spatial, and political inclusion of the street homeless people, thereby ensuring that the enhanced and holistic freedom is envisioned in the Tshwane 2055 document and aimed at ensuring that we enable the institutional environment for facilitating such broad inclusions. In conclusion, Madam Speaker, let me say to the people of Tshwane, when I opened the speech, I started with the words of Thabo Mbeki, let me begin. I did so to emphasize that we are at the beginning of a long-term journey to deliver change to the residents of our city that they voted for on the 3rd of August. That journey has proven to be a very, very difficult one, but one that we have welcomed. We have by no means achieved all we have set out to achieve, but our journey is underway. We do not have all the answers to all the challenges we currently face, and we are working around the clock to ensure that all the needs of our citizens are heard, from Garankuwa to Centurion, from Easterres to Waterloo and to Waterkloof. But we are making strides towards building a city that responds to the needs of its residents and expands freedom, fairness, and opportunity for all. You are all our people, and we are working to give you a better life. We ask for your cooperation, support, and resilience. We ask for your understanding during the tough times and your optimism during the dark times. As I have said through my time thus far, that Rome was never built in one day, but it was eventually built. And indeed, Tshwane will never be built in one day, but indeed, we will build a resilient city. Because, after all, it is only but the beginning. Let me take this opportunity to once again thank the men and women in uniform who have done their job diligently, who have gone beyond the call of duty to ensure that you and me are safe. Let me also say to the men and women who brace themselves to go and fix our electricity, to go and fix our leaking pipes, I want to say to all of you, thank you. To the men and women who take abuse on a daily basis on the phones when things are not done, I want to say thank you. It's not every day that we thank civil servants. And today I want to take this opportunity to thank them. I want to thank councillors for always being the leaders that you are. I want to thank you for continuing to show light where there is despair. I want to say to my MMCs, thank you very much. I'm not the easiest one to work with from time to time, but I think you understand where my heart and my head is. I want what is best for our city. I want to thank you all. And lastly, allow me to thank my family as well, my wife, who had to leave, and my 2 sons, who's, by the way, the youngest one is celebrating his 60th birthday today. Allow me to thank them for allowing me the space that I need to work when I need to work. And I see my parents are there as well. I want to thank them as well for supporting me throughout the difficult time. The time is now, ladies and gentlemen, for us to really say, Tshwane, Tshwane must be leading. As a capital city, we must be leading this country. As a capital city, we must be showing the rest of South Africa what good governance is all about, what service delivery excellence is all about. And I'm committed to making that happen. I'm asking you to join me as we take the city of ours to greater heights. I thank you.